Namaste, angels. This is the weekly general reading. Well, actually, I'm thinking about just making it the weekly reading period, and doing the spread for love or pulling some cards for love as part of this reading and just doing one, so that I have more time for the private readings and the energy healing work that I do, in addition to the work that I do in my real life, not as the Queen of Swords, but as Mariama. Because, it just seems like we're not anytime soon going to get beyond this barrier of, the shadow banning. And if I have to choose where to put energy, it probably makes more sense at this point to put it with the energy healing, my other work, and, the client readings, because I do get a lot of those. And with part of the problems with YouTube is uploading. So if I could have more time to, after I record the client readings, to upload them, and or edit them if I have to, and get them to clients faster, the way that I used to be able to, knock out several, many a day, as long as I had the psychic or spiritual energy to do so. But that's not really the case anymore, with all the foolishness that goes on with YouTube. But I say that in part because I think that this is a week, and it may be because of the Juno in Aquarius transit, which I'll talk about more after I do the cards, for those who want to stick around for that. But it may, at least in part, have to do with that, and sort of wanting to go about doing some things differently. To that end, also, with the cards, we're starting with the Hierophant in reverse, which is about non-traditional practices and behaviors, like doing things or not doing things in the traditional way, and sort of going against the grain. Sometimes that's recommended or encouraged, and then sometimes it's not. It's often not with like the financial matters and stuff. Let's say, this is not a good week, for example, to gamble, be a little bit more traditional, a little bit more conservative about how you spend or where you put your money. That's just an example. But the Hierophant's in reverse, and so this card is talking about doing things in an untraditional manner, maybe, again, differently than you normally would, perhaps. And again, that it's possible that could be attributed to Juno and Aquarius, but whether it is or not, I feel that I'm not the only one, that there are going to be people who maybe consistently continue to do something similar to me doing, weekly general and love readings, for example, every week, despite all the problems that we've been having for some time now. Maybe because you continue to do something because you feel like you're obligated to, or some sort of loyalty, there's an expectation, or because you said you would, you committed to it. And so there's some sense of, even if it's not working technically at this point, I should continue to do it, like as an exercise. And I think that a lot of people are going to decide that that's not the way to go this week. Also, since I started with the cards, might as well go ahead and tell you, I thought it was interesting. I'm using the Keepers of the Light Oracle this week in tandem with the Modern Day Witch Rider-Waite style tarot and the Animal and Angel decks. And I thought it was interesting that both cards were purple. Obviously with the Justice upright, things going in your favor, the scales being leveled, evened out in your favor, and coupled with experiencing grace. I think this is the grace, like, the universe or God shining on you, leveling the playing field for you, because you are in this period of experiencing grace. The next card is the Seven of Wands, which is about defending your beliefs and decisions. Justice can also be about some decision you're making, or some decision that's handed down that you decide to protect, maybe because you're on the winning side, and you're encouraged to do that. Or again, taking the Hierophant in reverse into consideration, you make a decision to do something differently, and and you defend that. Going against the grain, going against what other people recommend or suggest perhaps is best for you. And you probably do have a lot of choices. So choosing to do your own thing is encouraged. There may still be some anxiety attached to it, some nervousness, some fear even, perhaps sleepless nights, staying up, trying to figure out what to do. But ultimately, it is suggested that we go ahead and take a leap of faith and follow our own hearts, our own guidance, our own inner knowing, our own spirits and ancestors and whatever it is in which you believe, and pursue whatever it is you've decided to pursue, and start maybe a new adventure. What else do I want to say about these cards? Here, after the Hierophant in reverse, we do have Judgment. It's upright. But, I think this is important in terms of experiencing grace and the playing field being leveled and God or the universe shining on you. Judgment for me is about abundance that is earned, has been earned first and foremost. It can also have something to do with an actual judgment. Maybe there is a legal situation that we have going on. And again, something, it being, maybe the playing field being leveled. Maybe we didn't have an attorney and we were fighting somebody that did before. We were pro se, as they call it. And so now we're getting on, so things are a little bit more even. And, there's progress in our case, again, in our favor. Or maybe we're just all out winning the case this week because we deserve it. It's an abundance that's earned, but also it's justice in our favor. It's the playing field being even. It's the scales being balanced where they've been maybe unbalanced against us for a time. Judgment can also have something to do with relationships and determining if they're going to go anywhere and where. If they decide they are going to go somewhere, where are they going? That can have to do with judgment. Judgment is about second chances, second time around in a variety of situations as well. And with the Sun also here, I could keep going forever, but I thought it was interesting that 3 major arcana cards right at the top of the deck after I finished shuffling. So it's a lot of very strong karmic energy. And in terms of relationships, and maybe also, again, thinking about Juno in Aquarius, specific to relationships, maybe somebody who's not your normal type, or a relationship style, a lifestyle that isn't, or that people don't think is your normal type. You, this week, deciding to, pursue somebody who, on the surface at least, doesn't necessarily seem to fit you or to be befitting of you or the right person for you. That's from outsiders looking in. Beneath the surface, you probably will have to have some, share some of the same beliefs and ideologies and plans for the future and all that if it's going to be a relationship that works out. But surface level, the fact that you're different, that one has more money than the other, a better job, is skinnier, is heavier, is taller, is shorter, is blacker, is whiter, doesn't really matter. There's something else I wanted to say about this. Don't remember what it was at the time, so I'll leave that there and we'll do the dice. So we're starting with Quickie. Something could come in like fast moving energy that changes, a situation. Also, we got Massage, Spin Money, and it's 50-50. And then if I'm going to do the love reading, I guess in tandem with this reading, you can also maybe consider this die in that regard too. As it would relate to love. We got 29, Spiritual Partnership. Also, Sex. Email. and my choice. And when I said sex, I actually heard sex of the baby, and I just didn't say anything. But now with my choice, I'm getting that this can also have to do with like maybe like somebody's gender reveal or something, or not doing a gender reveal, not choosing not to prioritize gender, or something like that is coming through here. All right, in any case, let's get on with the cards. Starting first with the Ten of Pentacles. So yeah, I'm just going to say, like, if there's something that you've been doing that's become more of an exercise that you feel like you have to do, or you just should do, because it's become an exercise, you may not want to. Oh, I remember what I wanted to say about the cards, those 3 cards. So the Sun can be about, as it relates to relationships, can be about breaks. This is the second time I'm seeing the Ten of Pentacles, so on that note, I will cut after this. Can be about breaks in terms of love and relationship, like maybe you need some time apart from your partner. And I had gotten that when I looked at the cards together, that maybe somebody who separated from their partner because that partner was maybe, again, not befitting of them, I don't know, based on society or whatever, in a traditional way. So they split from them for those reasons, like this guy's too old for you, or you know, that sort of thing, and separated from that. Like those kind of people in couples, people in relationships like that could be getting back together. Maybe you decide it's time for the break to be over with this you know, non-traditional mate for you. We have an overall energy of the Five of Wands in reverse. So again, speaking about relationships, when the Five of Wands is in reverse, then you still may have some sort of argument. It doesn't have to be an argument. It can be just a deep conversation. It is possible to turn into something like an argument. You should try to keep it from becoming an argument and rather just being a serious conversation. But something will probably come up, or is likely to come up, between two people, that talking about it, hashing it out, debating it, possibly even arguing about it, will be beneficial to their relationship. So to apply it to what I was just talking about, let's say some people that are in separation, they come back together, maybe the conversation starts off, you know, challenging, difficult. There's a conflict that we have to resolve, and we end up better off having had the conversation, maybe even back together, which could be very unexpected, right? It's something that comes in quickly. Everything is fine. You may have in your mind, the swords are about thought, that things are not fine or wouldn't be fine, that we couldn't survive a debate or an argument, but that is not true. And these tens would suggest an end of a cycle of where we were dealing, you know, with these kind of struggles too. And speaking of tens, before starting the reading, I had this thought about February 2nd. Don't ask. I don't know why. But I had this thought about February 2nd pop up, maybe because it falls within the parameters of this week's reading. And February 2nd being 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, which equals 5 2s or 10. As I say the word 10, I open to another 10. Another 10 that's sitting on top of the 3 of Swords, and another 9 of Swords, and another Tower. You know, so the World is next here too. So a lot of the cards that we just saw. The next card is an Ace of Cups. Again, there could be a new beginning among, you know, some, maybe unexpected, maybe it comes in quickly, among some people that otherwise, you know, shared love, but had some sort of challenge in between, maybe even separation. And that doesn't have to be romantic. That could be anybody. What was I saying though? Damn it. I don't remember. Oh, about the 2222. Yeah, so I was like, oh, Groundhog Day is a 10. I'm so strange. Oh God. And then I thought about the numbers separately. I'm like, okay, 10 ending cycles, 1 the beginning. I even thought about the 0 cipher in Supreme Math, which is about God, connection to the divine. So yeah, Groundhog Day. Whereas if you think about it from the perspective of the movie and things repeating over and over and over again, I think instead of that will actually be an end of cycles for some and a new beginning for others for whom cycles have already ended. And we got the 7 of Swords. I always say when you see like the 3, the 9, the 7, I mean like 1, even the 10 too. Those cards, the 3, the 7, the 3, the 5, the 7, the 9, the 10, often seem to show up like in pairs, or all of them will show up. Anyway, the 7 of Swords can be about loss, thievery even. Sometimes in relationships it can be about a return, somebody coming back. Depending upon how it ends up in your spread, it can be about something that you have lost or previously misplaced or had taken from you being returned as well. So if this is, for example, in connection to the legal situation, a potential legal situation, a situation where you were wronged, and now the universe is righting you and putting things in your favor and balancing the scales, then maybe something will be returned to you. There was something physically, a tangible thing that was lost or taken. You could be getting it back this week. Now let's shuffle these. Again, we were starting with Paul the Venetian, experiencing grace. Share your gifts with grace. This is what I've been trying to do. As a matter of fact, I posted about this yesterday, that, I'm just trying to share my gifts, for those who need them. YouTube is making it very difficult to do that, for people to discover that I'm doing that. And not enough people discover it on their own, unfortunately, possibly and probably likely, I guess, because of the same blocks, but it is what it is. Anyway, share your gifts with grace. Waves of inspiration and love are coming to you. More purple with fun, yeah. And we have El Moria, awakening presence. The universe is with you. Wear a cloak of protection and love. As well as Lady Venus. Venus actually goes direct today. I'm doing this reading on Saturday the 29th. Or went direct. I don't remember what time it was supposed to happen, but she goes direct today. Truth is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. And facing fear. Major spiritual changes are unfolding. This is your chance to soar. I feel like we just talked about all these kinds of things just a moment ago. Also, unleash your spirit, express your gifts, and dance to the sacred rhythm of life. And that brings us back to Paul the Venetian, experiencing grace, with which we started. So now I'm going to pull a couple of these. This one fell away, so we'll use it for everybody. It's the King of Pentacles. Awesome card for everybody to get. You'll be experiencing grace this week. Generosity. Abundance. There could be offers of things like a new job. There could be promotions. There could be, money or something of value coming at you, coming toward you, perhaps unexpectedly, including the love, possible relationship improvements and people returning to your life that we just talked about a moment ago. Those people, that person may specifically be a King of Pentacles. I again dreamed of my King of Pentacles ex yesterday. Again, we were not having sex or anything, but he was definitely in my dream, and I definitely remember it. So I consider when that happens, it for sure to be some sort of message. Anyway, this person may be a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, or someone like into those traits or attributes. Card most directly representing us this week, Two of Pentacles, upright. Surrounding energy, close friends, family members, co-workers, the sun, which would go along potentially with what I was just saying at the beginning, and maybe a mate or a former mate coming back. This would be one of our one-on-one relationships, closest one-on-one relationships, like our surrounding energy. Mates, are included in that, or potential, mates or loved ones. And so this is representing them. Again, maybe somebody's coming back from a break, for those of you who have been on one. Work and finance. We have the Fool. And we jumping at something new, trying something new way to make or earn money or something like that. We'll talk about that more in a second. Love and relationship, the Ace of Swords in reverse. Mercury also goes direct this week. This is the week everybody's been waiting for. Physical health, Wheel of Fortune. And spiritual health, Strength. Overall energy again. Oh, nope. Five of Wands in reverse. Now, I feel like I've talked about the Five of Wands quite a bit. The Two of Pentacles, the card, again, that most directly represents us this week, can often be about having a lot on your plate. You're juggling a lot of things. Often we're prioritizing things that are associated with material growth. So our work, our money, our bank account, maybe that's what we're focused on, perhaps to the detriment of other things in our lives. And so maybe this is tied to the Seven of Cups, for example, that we saw in the, when I was going through the cards, having a lot of things to do, a lot of goals, a lot of things we're trying to accomplish. This really recommends that we focus on like one or two things, prioritize one or two things this week and get those done properly rather than, trying to do in everything. If we can help it, not to. Also, to not forget ourselves and our loved ones when we are, working 80 hours a week and focused on money and buying new stuff. Remember your relationships as well. Twos in general, often about relationships, balance. And so this is definitely about balance between, your work and home life, personal life. So the surrounding energy, again, is the sun. It can have to do with, so in the placement, it's, again, close friends, family members, co-workers, perhaps something happening at your office, at your job, your mate or prospective mate, something like that. Surrounding energy. So if they have the energy of the sun most directly represents the sign in the tarot of Sagittarius. Earth's star, the sun, rules the sign of Leo. So for me, this card can represent both or either of those. I guess first and foremost Sagittarius, and then second to that Leo. But more importantly, whether the sun is upright or in reverse, it's super, super positive. The sun shines and sheds light on things. So you could be coming into some sort of information or clarification involving the people and issues surrounding you. Maybe getting directly from the horse's mouth, as they say, some sort of explanation about something, clarification from them that makes everything better. Like the Five of Wands, for example, the fact that we had this conversation, the fact that this information came out, helps to heal the relationship or improve the relationship, improve our situation, whatever it is. If it's with regard to a medical issue that somebody in the surrounding energy is having, maybe, a family member has to get an MRI or is in need of an X-ray or radiation, chemotherapy, has a fever, maybe, the COVID or something like that. Whatever the situation is, for me, it's usually involving something like rays or whatever. That's why I said X-ray and MRI and stuff, but also potentially heat, like a fever. Whatever the situation, in terms of medical issues, the outcome is good with the sun, and particularly upright like this. Outcome is good, and those health matters for people surrounding us. And the sun, like I said, the sun just makes everything better. It's a very positive energy, except surprisingly, when it comes to relationships, can be about separation, because it can be about a break. And sometimes it's a break that we go on together. We need to get away. We need a vacation. But sometimes it's about our partner or love interest needing a break from us, and maybe even telling us they want a break. I do not think that that's the case this week. I think that if anything, again, people who had been on break, the break is over, or they're wanting to end that break and they're wanting to return. And we can, I think, see that, or I think the Fool supports that, even though it's in the placement of work and finance. I think that just the way it's sitting here in this spread, and then it shows up together. I like to look at the cards all together sometimes too. The Fool, again, is about new beginnings. It's that zero. It's that cipher energy that I was just talking about. And again, we do have some really positive energy this week. We have that 2222 day, which is February 2nd. That may be the day that, if somebody's returning, that they choose to return. Also, well, maybe not also. Maybe that's it. That's all I have to say about the sun, at least for now. So moving on to the Fool, speaking of the Fool, moving on to the Fool now. With regard to work and finance, Fool, again, about new beginnings, almost all the time, in its general meaning, and work and finance is no different. So this can be about you deciding to start your own business. It can be about a promotion, or some sort of maybe new thing that you're learning at your job, maybe that you're being trained for something new, or there's a new methodology to something that you do there. Perhaps you come up with it, because the Fools also say that people may not necessarily understand all of your, new ideas and the things that you're proposing. But if you know that you're right, you should continue to press hard with these things. And, don't just roll over. I mean, obviously don't get yourself in trouble at work, pushing back on stuff, but, try to make the point and help them to understand where you're coming from. But, of course, do make sure that you're right before you do that, rather than just being stubborn, and trying to get your point across when it may not be the best choice. But chances are this week that something that you come up with is the right way to go. And this can also probably be tied to, again, the Juno in Aquarius, which is, and the Hierophant in reverse, and doing things in a non-traditional manner. Like, everybody else is expecting something to be done one specific way, and they don't get what you're suggesting, because you're suggesting something different. And different could very well be the way to go this week. If you're out of work and looking, then this could be the week that you not only find something, that possibly you even start. Like maybe they say okay, you're hired. Can you start today? Can you start tomorrow? Because it can be about a new position or something. And even for those of us who have an existing job, it can be about a new position. So maybe a promotion, or getting moved to a different department that is, will turn out to be not only something new for you, but something better, ultimately, even if it feels sort of lateral. What else I want to say? Oh, finance. So not necessarily connected to work, but, just your money situation. So this is a very positive card for our finances, and for even an uptick. You could come into something that's maybe unexpected. There could be some sort of new income stream, again, new job, promotion, maybe even a windfall of some sort. Again, non-traditional, something unexpected, something comes your way. I don't know, maybe a lotto ticket. Get a lotto ticket this week, if you're into that sort of thing. One way or another, this card tends to mean some sort of increase that we're going to be seeing and experiencing this week. And with the King of Pentacles that fell out for everyone, I just think that's even more of a reason why that would be true. And also with this Fool, sitting right atop, basically, the Wheel of Fortune, also upright. It's more Sagittarius energy, so it could go along with the sun. Right? The sun shining some light on our finances, warming things up in that area. Things are getting heated in that area. There's growth, expansion from Sagittarius' ruler, Jupiter. Definitely could be the case in terms of finances. But I definitely think that the King of Pentacles just adds some sort of reaffirmation or reconfirmation to that. That could be, generosity and money and material wealth and growth coming to us this week. Even the strength card, it's in our spiritual health position, but the strength card is wonderful for in every area, actually, of every aspect of one's life, whether it's upright or in reverse. So it means very positive things for finances. Perhaps the most important message, though, could be that whatever happens this week in our, in terms of our finances or our work, our career, like, we're going to be okay, is the message that the Fool gives. Everything's going to be all right this week. So if you've been stressing about stuff, again, think about this Two of Pentacles, you should be able to relax a bit. And, maybe our Seven of Swords is even, reaffirming that too, or, reconfirming that too, saying something is going to be, again, returned to us this week. So it could even be peace of mind that returns to us this week. I'm not stressing out about money or material things. And that takes us to love with the Ace of Swords in reverse. And, I just smiled. You guys can't see my face because I like for people to see the cards. I know people like to see the cards. It's more important than my face. And I like the people to see that the cards were not there before I started the reading, that I don't have any notes or whatever sitting here as to what I'm going to rattle off or something that has nothing to do with what the cards actually say. I like you guys to see the cards. Anyway, but I do have a smile on my face. And the reason is because we were talking about non-traditional relationships in love. And again, Juno and Aquarius. And of course, Aquarius is an air sign, to be represented by these swords. And Juno is like a Venus too. So that could be another reason for the swords. The Ace of Swords in reverse with regard to love can definitely have to do with us not only falling for someone, but pretty hard for someone who is inappropriate for us. So again, non-traditional. And looking at, again, the Fool, definitely nothing wrong with taking the walk on this wild side and, being with, trying this person out that is inappropriate for us, unbefitting of us. What are the other words I used before? And, opposites definitely attract. So that may be what it's about. The only caveat, or only thing to be potentially concerned about or to watch for with this card when it shows up in reverse like this is that if the person says like, oh, I don't make a good girlfriend, I don't make a good boyfriend. I'm just looking to have some fun. I'm not good at relationships, It's one of those, if somebody tells you who they are, believe them cards. And it makes sense because the Ace of Swords is a card that can be about, truth. Again, clarity, information coming out, and it's sitting here underneath our sun, which very well means the same thing. So somebody tells you who they are, and it's not necessarily what you're looking for, you're going to have to make a determination if you, want to go forward with it, because you should believe them as to who they are. They're telling you the truth. So you tell me you're not interested in having a relationship. It's up to me to decide if I still want to, kick it with you, as they say. And to not try to change you is if I can make you good at relationships, after you've already told me that you're not, What else? I guess that's it. So we'll move on to physical health and the Wheel of Fortune. It's another card that represents the planet Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius. And in terms of our health, it's a positive card too, but it warns us. I think warns is the word I want to use. It warns us to keep our stress level under control. So again, if we can avoid getting into an actual argument with this Five of Wands showing up, we should. If we could avoid doing 10 things instead of 2, we should. If we can fit into our schedule to also remember to nurture ourselves instead of just everyone else, and maybe get like the massage that the dice suggested, or have the sex that the dice suggested, we should. And when in doubt about how else exactly to maybe keep the stress level down, then, it's going back to the basics. It's proper, amount of rest. It's exercise. It's, nutrition. I don't know. yeah, massage, yoga, meditation. It's all those things. And that takes us to strength, which again most directly represents the sign of Leo. So a lot of fire energy showing up in today's spreads. Again, Sagittarius, then Leo, then Aries, I would say, in that order, if we had to attribute it to a person in our lives, or wanted to attribute it, or trying to have felt that it did attribute to a person in our lives, or might. This is another positive card, but it's likely to be a very spiritual time for us this week. Even if we don't have any, like, remotely any kind of like religious or spiritual practices or particular beliefs or anything to speak of. It's about paying attention to, again, our spirit, our higher self, our heart, our gut feelings, our intuition. It's all about sort of mind, body, spirit, and listening to each aspect of those things and spending time on all three. So it's kind of like in tandem with the Wheel of Fortune card. When things are tough, that can be when giving attention to all three of those areas of ourselves and our lives is the most difficult. But this week is not expected to be tough. So I think that you could very well have the time and energy to do this week. And if you still feel like you don't, like, despite what the cards are saying, you're like, well, I'm not feeling that energy yet, things will be looking up soon. And the card is also like a reminder of your strength. You are strong, probably stronger than you think, and able to handle, face, deal with any and everything that comes your way, which this week again should be very good things that are coming your way. So I don't think it's going to take all that much effort. On that note, we'll go on to our other cards and our cross spread. Look. Recent past, near future, message from higher self, or 5D placement, 3D life here, heart of the matter. What is crossing that? Love and relationship. Specifically, what is crossing that? Again, overall energy of the Seven of Swords. And we'll add, oops, why did I do, I'm going to leave that there. I don't know why I did that placement first. Out of order. Let's put another one. El Moria, Awakening presence is our other overall energy. The universe is with you. Wear a cloak of protection and love. Recent past. Ace of Earth. So last week, I think it was, we had 2 aces of Earth in the crowning position. And we had several aces in general pop up. So this definitely makes sense to me for the recent past. But some of us may experience it at the beginning of this week as well. The inflow of abundance, a promising business venture, which we saw with the Fool, is very, very possible this week. And important documents or contracts could also come up to be signed. And again, Mercury is going direct this week. So we're getting back into that time when you can sign contracts. And speaking of Mercury, we have 3 cards that speak a lot of not only Mercury, but Gemini to me. So we have the High Priestess, which is Major Arcana card number 2, as in Gemini, I. Can also represent water signs. Perhaps this is about paying attention to our intuition, our higher self, our inner knowing, our gut feelings, all those things that I was just talking about, but also like wisdom, street smarts, common sense, like employ it all. All the information you come into, you have available at your hands is what the High Priestess likes to sort of weigh before she makes a decision and makes a move. Because she is a Gemini. Think real G's move in silence. Real Geminis move in silence too. They don't tell people what they're doing usually until they're already doing it or they've already done it. Also with that, more Gemini, we have Major Arcana card 6, the Lovers, intimate relationships, carefully weigh your decisions, good health. This could be somebody, we could have met or connected energetically or had some sort of growth in our relationship with an actual soulmate. Or somebody that is meant to be a true companion to us long term, just genuine. It's real love. It's the real deal. Even if you're not in love yet, when the Lover shows up as with regard to a relationship, it's the real deal. Now it can also be about a heart versus head decision, and maybe that's why it's showing up with the High Priestess. Again, we got to take all our information and put it into making a decision, and it will be where our heart is fighting our head. Our mind's telling us one thing, and our insides are telling us another, and we'll have to decide to which to listen. And the last is the Miriam and Sacred Vision. So this is more about choosing and making a decision based on what we see in a situation or in a person. Choose to forgive in order to heal. See the light in all. Remember that love has no boundaries. So again, not letting something like a disagreement or the fact that we've been on a break or whatever to stop us, or the fact that we have differences or combinations of those things to stop us. Love has no boundaries. Love has no particular look or height or weight or color or any, like none of those things matter. And a lot of us are realizing that this week and deciding, I don't care if, I'm the female and my job pays better than the males, and it's traditional for the male to provide, to many people. I don't care about that. I don't mind being the breadwinner and he can stay home with the kids. Some of us will be deciding stuff like that this week, or will have decided it recently, near future. We got some fear energy coming up. 5 of Swords, conflict, being conflicted. Again, maybe the need to make a decision or something comes up. Near future, we're not knowing what to do. There's a potential to make an unwise choice. So again, make sure that you pay attention to all the information that you have around you and actually consider it before making a move. Unwise choice, learn what you can do from the situation, review everyone's motives. Sometimes the 5 of Swords for me can have to do with things like gossip and spreading rumors, or getting into foolish and unnecessary arguments, debates, and stuff like that. But I think it's more so representing fear, and again, us a person being conflicted, because it also shows up here with the Five of Pentacles, fear surrounding money, which you talked about in the beginning. The Two of Pentacles could be associated with we're focusing really, really hard on money because we're worried about it, and this week is not a week to worry about it. Fear surrounding money, the wisdom to accept help from others. So on a more positive note, and maybe there's uncertain self-employment, which is also possible because, again, the Fool, some of us may be moved to jump into our own business. And maybe that's what you need to use your High Priestess energy to figure out what it should do. The Queen of Wands says, yes, you should, though. The Queen of Wands is confident, warm, intelligent, and graceful. So she shows up to say you can handle any and everything that's coming at you. Stretch your wings and fly. Don't underestimate yourself. Assert your independence and your creativity. Queen of Wands. And this can also be asserting your independence, making decisions for yourself and on your own that don't necessarily align with what others would decide for you. And it may be tied again to that Juno in Aquarius energy and the Hierophant rather in reverse, and doing your own thing and being non-traditional. This is saying like, well, maybe you live with your mother or maybe you depend on her. This is just an example, and so you normally listen to what she says, but this time it's time for you to assert your independence and not be worried about if, she can pay your phone bill for you or not. Make your decision on your own. I don't know where that thought came from, where that example came from, but that's what I got. So maybe that applies to somebody. But yeah, it's time to assert your own independence and creativity in making a move. And then we got Mary Magdalene. Teacher awakens. You have something important to share. Follow the inner call. So this is like doubling down on the message. It's reaffirming it too. It's again, listen to what your gut is telling you, what your heart is telling you, what your soul is telling you, what your common sense, your spidey senses, your street smarts, your wisdom, your intellect, your psychic awareness and ability. Use what those things are telling you, not necessarily what an outsider is saying into your ear, which can be another another reason why the Five of Swords shows up here. It's saying don't listen to, out chatter in the ear, outside talk, outside influences. This is for you to follow the inner call. Very important this week. And don't let anything stop you, is what Mary Magdalene says here. Message from higher self. We've got the Hermit. So again, this is about inner knowing, inner knowledge, introspection, going within to figure things out. Spend time in quiet meditation, spiritual teaching. Like we got here, Teacher awakens, spiritual teaching, self-discovery. Major Arcana card 9, the Hermit, represents the sign of Virgo most directly and may involve a Virgo. Or could also be tied again to Mercury, Next up, we have another Ace of Pentacles. So we have the Ace of Pentacles here. We have it crossing here as well. One is here with the Miriam and the Lovers, right? And the High Priestess. That's our first Ace of Pentacles. And now we've got another one. Sort of crowning here from the message from the higher self. You can expect a windfall of abundance is what your higher self wants you to know. Such as money, timely assistance, a serendipitous meeting, or rewarding advice. You may be offered a fabulous new job or promotion, or the prospect of a profitable business venture or investment, just like the other spread showed us. And we have the Tower, because maybe this happens all of a sudden. It rushes in, things change for us, never to exist in the same way again. Important changes are coming into your life that will require you to take action. What action? Making some sort of decision here based on, again, inner knowing and things. Don't hesitate to move in new directions, okay? New beginning, again, that you know are right for you. Then we have faith, having faith while we're taking this leap of faith. We're jumping out there. Humanity and benevolence. Stay calm. Trust the good in yourself and others, and see the light in the world. And that's going to help you in making these moves and decisions. And lastly, we have Cernunnos, which for me is very, very Capricorn. Regardless of whatever this message says here, Capricorn is the worker of the zodiac. They are born with this innate, way of always, making enough money, have enough money, finding enough money. So this is another message, again, doubling down for me of not being concerned with that this week. Express your driving passion. Sensual and sexual powers are increased. High Priestess is also or potentially a very sexual energy. And then again, we had it in the dice as well. 3D life. The Knight of Wands. Passionate, charismatic, confident, and restless. An opportunity arises that needs your attention right away. Right, it's crossing here again, the decision. Moving quickly is important. Yeah, we have to move quickly. It's the Tower. It's coming in very fast. Yet there's nothing that you can't handle if you follow your own inner guidance, like the Queen of Wands says to do, like Mary Magdalene said to do, like the Miriam said to do. The Knight of Wands is potentially an Aries, Leo, a Sagittarius, like so many of the other cards that we've seen today so far, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. A very fiery energy coming at you. It is partnered here, coupled here. Whoa! I just saw something. You're going to see it in a second. It's coupled here with the King of Cups, as if that wasn't exciting enough. This could definitely be a Scorpio, because we've got the Wands or the Mars and potentially the Pluto together. This could definitely be a Pisces, because we've got the Jupiter, which is Pisces' ancient ruler and is currently located there. And of course, it could be a Cancer too, but those two first. The King of Cups is warm-hearted, devoted, loving, and faithful. A trustworthy person or relationship enters your life. You may receive wise and compassionate advice from someone who speaks directly from the heart. So again, this is a very good week, where we're feeling good and we're receiving good news and good energy coming at us and things like that. Prayers being answered, wishes being granted, dreams coming true. Aquarius energy showing up. You are about to take a big leap forward in your life. Again, think the Fool, jumping, think faith, leap of faith. Worry will be replaced with optimism. Fear with hope. And joy is coming home to roost. This is us accomplishing goals, knocking things off the list. This is prayers being answered, wishes being granted, dreams coming true. This is communication coming in, very possibly through some sort of electronic means, text, email, message in the sky. I don't know, with the dot, what's that called? Morse code. Also, this is a very healing energy, the Star. So in terms of healing a relationship, healing emotion, some sort of emotional situation, and can be about online dating and things too. And then this was the one that I was like, whoa, it's Jesus. I mean, talk about the quintessential divine masculine, especially when we got Mary Magdalene sitting here too. That was why I was like, oh my God. Forgiveness. So it ties into the Miriam and their message that we should choose forgiveness or choose love, as they say. Jesus is love, right? God is love. You're on the path of light, love, and forgiveness. Father healing is possible at this time. So there could be a male and or masculine energy in your life, specifically with whom you need to heal something, and you'll get that opportunity this week, very, very possibly. Or they could be approaching you to, with some sort of apology. At the heart of the matter, we have another major arcana card, 11, strength. True strength is displayed through kindness, forgiveness, and compassion. You have tremendous personal power and courage. Again, major arcana card, strength, most directly represents the sign of Leo. I want you to see we have 8, 9, 11. We're only missing 10. But 10 can sometimes be like a downer because it means like we're overwhelmed and stuff. So I like seeing that we're not. It's possible that it's the crossing card, though. I haven't looked at the crossing card yet. But this card is about forgiveness. True strength is displayed through kindness, forgiveness, and compassion. You have tremendous personal power and courage. And then we have the 8 of Wands, which, like the Star, can be about communication, or it can also be about where things weren't moving, things were stuck, energy was stuck, maybe because of Mercury retrograde. Mercury goes direct again this week. all of a sudden things get buzzing, things get moving. You've been presented with many wonderful opportunities all at once. While this may feel very stressful, remember, we've got to avoid stress this week. Remember to be grateful for all the blessings that heaven is sending you. So rather than allowing yourself to get stressed out, just say, thank you, universe. Thank you, God, whatever it is. Thank you, whatever it is in what you believe. Then we got the 9 of Wands. So again, when you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, burnt out, I can't do anymore. This is the universe stepping in to say, yes, you can. Don't give up. Protect that which you've created. Have courage and believe in yourself. Crossing those, we have the Knight of Swords. So again, this is the Mercury. We have the Knight of Swords. He is decisive, focused, driven, and impulsive. And this is another very fast-moving energy that comes in. Get ready for progress to speed up. Remember, I said they were stuck, but now they're moving. This situation requires you to choose logic and intellect over emotion and to make your decisions quickly. We already saw that we had to make a decision quickly here. Also, if you're awaiting a decision, awaiting some sort of information, news, or there's a matter that has to be decided by another party, with the Knight of Swords showing up like this upright, and especially with the cards that it's partnered with, and in consideration of the others, especially, this is news that you would want to hear. This is something that's going your way, going in your favor. And very nice. The Keepers of the Light Oracle card for this Heart of the Matter pile is Mother Mary, love and peace. Let go of the need to be right. Choose peace. Mother healing is possible at this time. So there could be healing with a feminine energy or female in your life as well that's needed this week that can happen. So maybe you're the one making the apology if you're the female. Or, it can go either way, it will seem. Also, there's they're not a couple, but there's a potential for a couple. When you got mother and father healing is possible this week. If you want to look at the actual couple, we got them here too. Mary Magdalene and Jesus. So it's just like I said before I laid any cards, that I was feeling people coming back together and healing their relationships. And it looks like that is very, very possible and even likely this week. Love specifically, I guess this will tell us if it's in a romantic way or a platonic way, or potentially both. Could be both. There could also be some like divorces or family court matters that get finalized this week. And it's possible that they've been taking a long time. It's been stuck. Again, it gets moving. Maybe you've been getting divorced for years. Why isn't my divorce final? Or, you've had some sort of, again, other family matter. Maybe it's surrogate court, in terms of like an estate or something. It's estate, planning. It is child custody situation, child support, whatever. And it's been taking a long time, and now it's finally happening. And I'm only saying family court because it's in the love and relationship area. Look at things in from a different perspective. You may be at a temporary standstill. Again, when it's called awakening here, but it's actually the Hangman shows up. It's important to be yourself, so to be honest about the things that you want and your desires, your plans, and all of that, and move toward those when things begin to pick up again. But then we have the Hermit. So we've got the Hermit crowning here in the message for the higher self, and we have it here in love. So the Hermit, specific to love, whether upright or in reverse, and there's no reversals in this deck actually, but if I was using a deck that had reversals, wouldn't matter. It's almost always about an ex returning and rekindling a relationship from the past. So possibly specifically with a Virgo or a Libra here, or a Virgo Libra on the cusp or something like that. But of course it can be any sign. Also, again, getting back to legal matters, justice can often be about legal matters. The Hermit sometimes for me can be a lawyer. So take time for contemplation, to retreat and to go within. Be a beacon for others on their path to spiritual enlightenment as well. And then you have, again, fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right. Stand up for your beliefs. Justice in terms of love and relationship can be about balance. Maybe we're feeling that the relationship that we have with another person is out of balance. We're always doing all the work, or they're always doing all the work, putting in all the effort, and it's not reciprocal. So that this would be about getting to a place where it is reciprocal, or perhaps ending it because, you know, we're not equally yoked, as they say. So the crossing card there is the Four of Cups. Makes sense to me. Your responsibilities may distract you from noticing all the gifts that God is presenting to you. Be open to investigating opportunities that come your way. So it makes sense to me because this can be about, you know, a missed opportunity. It can be about doubt, pessimism, just feeling sort of down and unsure and not knowing whether or not things are going to go your way. Again, we do have justice indicating that they likely will, but with the Hangman, it's possible that there's something or someone of which some of us also may need to let go. Hangman can be about letting go. It can be about just letting go of negative emotions, like the inability to forgive. Again, this very clearly, this is a week to forgive. Oh, here too. We got the message in a few places. This is a week to forgive. The second, actually, the day I was talking about, the 2-2-2-2, is also the feast day of the presentation of our Lord. And that's the name of the feast day. I realize he's not necessarily everybody's Lord, but in that sentence, it's talking about Jesus. Anyway, the Keepers of the Light Oracle card for love and relationship this week is Sanat Kumara and Light Activation. Shine your light. Your internal guidance is coming through loud and clear. So this card also reminds us to pay attention to the internal messages, your higher self, your soul, your gut, your psychic awareness. Again, all the things that are available to you in making your moves. And then treating others with love and relationship. Love and compassion and forgiveness. And that's what I have for you in terms of the cards this week. I hope that you enjoyed it and you find it helpful. Please do like, share, subscribe, and comment. I do appreciate it. And if you'd like to stick around for a minute, I am going to turn on my laptop and see what else is going on this week. So here is the big heavy brick. I'm picking it up and putting it on my lap, and I'm opening it. Now I'm hitting the button. I'm turning it on. I am signing in. Oops. I typed my name wrong, I guess. My password wrong. And there's the ding that indicates that my laptop just came on. So, starting out with the Christian feast days this week, there are none in January for the rest of the month that we're going to talk about. This reading goes through the 5th of February, and on the 2nd, again, is the feast day of the presentation of the Lord. I will mention, though, I won't talk about it, but I will mention that the 3rd is the Feast of St. Blaise. So those of you who've been watching me for a while may recall that St. Blaise is one of my most favorite saints. And when it is the Feast of St. Blaise, on that day, you can walk into any Catholic church in your area, wherever you are, provided they're open. I know some places may be closed because of the pandemic, depending upon the numbers in your area. But if it's a Catholic church in your area that is open, you can walk in there and have your throat blessed. So if there's a condition that you're dealing with that involves the throat and you think it may help you to get your throat blessed, I suggest you do that. If you have been having trouble conveying messages and, you need throat chakra healing, go get your throat blessed on the 3rd of February, Feast of St. Blaise. But we're going to talk about the presentation of the Lord. And for a little bit more information on it, I went to www.franciscanmedia.org. At the end of the 4th century, a woman named Etheria made a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Her journal, discovered in the year 1887, gives an unprecedented glimpse of liturgical life there. Among the celebrations she describes is the Epiphany, the observance of Christ's birth, and the gala procession in honor of his presentation in the temple 40 days later. Under the Mosaic law, a woman was ritually unclean for 40 days after childbirth, when she was to present herself to the priests and offer sacrifice for her purification. Contact with anyone who had brushed against mystery, birth, or death excluded a person from Jewish worship. The feast emphasizes Jesus' first appearance in the temple more so than Mary's purification. The observance spread throughout the Western Church in the 5th and 6th centuries. Because the Church in the West celebrated Jesus' birth on December 25th, the presentation was moved to February 2nd, 40 days after Christmas. At the beginning of the 8th century, Pope Sergius inaugurated a candlelight procession. At the end of the same century, the blessing and distribution of candles, which continues to this day, became part of the celebration, giving the feast its popular name, Candlemas. Yes, I forgot that. So on the 2nd, you can go to the church and get a free candle that's been blessed. Think holy water. So in that vein, so to speak. And on the 3rd, again, you can get your throat blessed. In Luke's account, Jesus was welcomed in the temple by 2 elderly people, Simeon and the widow Anna. They embody Israel in their patient expectation. They acknowledge the infant Jesus as the long-awaited Messiah. Early references to the Roman feasts dubbed the feast of Saint Simeon, the old man who burst into a song of joy, which the church still sings at the day's end. So again, that's on February 2nd. There was nothing on the Hebrew or Jewish calendar. Oh, I skipped over, though, February 1st I meant to talk about before I talked about February 2nd. February 1st is not only the new moon in Aquarius, for which I'll do a separate reading, but it's the Chinese New Year. So this will be the year of the water tiger. And I remember talking to you guys last year about how metal was starting. And metal, to my understanding, is a 12-year cycle. So I was confused about why this is a water tiger as opposed to a metal tiger cycle. And then I read this, so I'm going to read it to you. A person's characteristics are said to be determined both by the fixed element of their zodiac sign and the element of the 12-year cycle. So that means it could easily be the metal water tiger or water metal tiger, right? One is fixed and one is the actual element. They give an example here of a metal dog born in 1970 has a personality with aspects that are associated with both metal, the 12-year cycle element, and earth, which is the fixed element. Also, the 5 elements theory is a concept of Chinese philosophy that identifies and describes the interactions and relationships between things. The 5 elements are wood, fire, earth, water, and metal. And your Chinese zodiac and element are determined by your date of birth. And there are a few different sites on here that I came across that help people to figure out what they are. Like I am again, metal pig. And I think I was double metal, if I remember correctly, when they told me. And a first wife or a best wife, favorite wife, something like that. Maybe all of those. I used to go to, the husband passed away, but I used to spend a lot of my time at, a stone shop, a place where they sell natural stone, jewelry store. And the husband was white, but the wife was Chinese and from China, not like an American Chinese, born in China. And so she would teach me all these things about Chinese astrology and so on and so forth. And that was one of the things she talked about. Anyway, so that's the Chinese New Year. You may want to exchange red envelopes. When I was a kid, I had a very, very close friend family friend named Mr. Wing. He ran the Chinese laundry, like traditional Chinese laundry. That's what it was called, Chinese laundry. I'm not calling it that. And I remember they would do my dad's shirts for work, and they'd be so crisp, and they'd be folded up like perfect, and then wrapped in brown paper, like a stamp, like how you wrap like a hero or something like that, and then with this twine tied around them, like in a cross shape, and it was like a package, like a gift. And we opened them, and my dad's shirts would be in there, just as crisp as they could be, for work and stuff. And then Mr. Wing would give us, for Chinese New Year, Mr. Wing would come over and give us all envelopes. And sometimes we'd go to his restaurant. He also owned a restaurant in Chinatown, and my family would go there, to celebrate, spend money with them. Anyway, memories of my childhood. Moving on to what is going on the rest of the week in terms of the celestial calendar. And so again, this reading starts on the 30th. Yes, the 30th is Sunday, and goes through the 5th of February, 30th of January through the 5th of February. So February 1st at 12:46 a.m., we have the new moon in Aquarius at 12 degrees Aquarius. Then also on February 1st, but later in the day at 6:05 p.m. is when Juno enters Aquarius. Then on February 3rd at 11:13 p.m., so February 3rd, the same day again that you can go get your throat blessed by St. Blaise. Look at this coincidence. Mercury goes direct. So Mercury, the planet of communication, goes direct the same day the one can get their throat, or their throat chakra healed. 24 degrees Mercury. And then that's the last item for the week. So quickly, I pulled up something about Juno in terms of our relationships, love and relationship. And it is from a site called wellandgood.com/Juno-in-astrology. You'll likely vibe with someone different from whom... I swear I did not read this in advance, but I've been saying this the whole time. You'll likely vibe with someone different from whomever the people in your life are telling you to be with. That's that 5 of Swords, possibly. Like, again, somebody in your ear. Convention and tradition aren't nearly as important to you. Hierophant in reverse. What's more important is someone who can accept all the facets of who you are, no matter their background, style, or persona. Quote, you both may really be your own person, but somehow that's the connection that'll work, end quote. Deep down, you'll require this partner to share your values and future intentions. I said that also. Even if that isn't evident from a surface level. I said exactly that same thing. That's another quote, actually, end quote. Or is this a new quote? Yeah, that wasn't a quote. I'm sorry. This is a new quote. So quote, be sure to check in emotionally on the regular, end quote. As it is easy for you to drift apart. Well, that's probably the Aquarius energy, the air sign energy. We can be sort of aloof, or at least come across that way, and detached. And so if you don't check in emotionally on a regular basis, it can be easy for you to drift apart from the romantic connection while you're also pursuing any solo goals. So that's what we're going to want to watch out for. And that's all I have for you. Again, please do like, share, subscribe, and comment. Even though I'm cutting down the number of readings that I'm going to be doing, we'll still try to combat this, shadow ban as much as we can. I'll continue to fight that with your help. So I appreciate it. Engagement, interaction, according to YouTube, is what will make things better. So I need you guys to comment. I need you guys to like. I need you guys to share. And I'll be back, like I said, with the moon reading for the week. Namaste.